Hello students, welcome to my channel. In this episode, you are going to learn about the chapter 1 Nationalism in Europe part 3. What is this part 3 is going to convey for you? It is about the period of revolution 1830 to 1848. So can we start how the revolution broke out and who broke the revolution? Can we see now? Here, the age of revolution started from the period of 1830 to 1848. Who started this revolution between this period? It was started by the liberal group of people in Europe. They were called in the name of liberal revolutionaries. So, first and foremost, this liberal revolutionaries, they started in France under the title of July Revolution. Then, the same revolutionary group from the side of middle class, they expressed their feelings through the way of using culture under the title Romanticism. In the meantime, common men, what was his suffering in the period of 1830 to 1848? He was severely affected by hunger and hardship. So, now we will see how this liberal group of people in Europe, how they started their revolution. July Revolution. What is called July Revolution? July Revolution was conducted by the liberal revolutionaries in France, and they overthrown the conservative regime. Conservative regime in the sense royal families rule in France, and they brought France under constitutional monarchy in 1830. What do you mean constitutional monarchy? Monarchy remains the same, that is, the ruler will rule the nation, but the constitution will be designed by the liberal revolutionaries. After this July Revolution, it sparked an uprising in Belgium. Belgium, this nation, was under the control of United Kingdom of Netherlands. After seeing the liberal revolutionaries' ideas in France, Belgium came out from Kingdom of Netherlands and they declared independence. After seeing this declaration of independence in Belgium, Duke Metternich, Austrian Chancellor, remarked, "When France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold," which gives the meaning, whatever the upheaval arises in France, that reflects in the rest of Europe. In connection with this July Revolution, one more independence was also happened in Europe. That was Greek War of Independence. Greece was under the control of Ottoman Empire, which was an Islamic empire. It was liberated by the liberal elites due to her ancient civilization. In 1832, educated elite across Europe initiated to liberate Greece from Islamic empire, because Greece, this nation, was called as cradle of civilization. In 1832, through the Treaty of Constantinople, Greece was liberated from the Ottoman Empire. So, July Revolution gave its impact on two nations. One is Belgium, which was liberated from the United Kingdom of Netherlands, and another one, Greece, was also liberated. All these efforts were taken by the liberal revolutionaries. Now, how these liberal revolutionaries spreaded their ideas to the common man? Through the way of Romanticism. Under this Romanticism, they have chosen three areas, important areas, to spread their ideas. One is through the way of painting. Another one is collecting the folklores and folk tales from the villages. Third one is music and language. Through the way of these three areas, they instigated the patriotic spirit in the minds of the common man, specifically from their ethnic group. To begin with, painting. In your textbook, figure 8, in the page number 14, a beautiful picture is painted by Delacroix. He depicted the massacre of Greeks by the Turks, who is none other than Ottoman Empire, and created sympathy for the Greeks. So through the way of this painting, they expressed the sufferings of Greeks. Second one is folklores and folk tales. Johann Gottfried Herder and Grimm brothers, both they collected folklores and folk tales in Germany. Through the way of collecting the folklores and folk tales, they first wanted to insist the importance of nationalism in the minds of common men, specifically from the side of village. Third one, music and language played an important role in the nationalism. Here in your textbook, the example is given from the side of Polish language. Karol Kurpinski in Poland, it is the name of a church priest in Poland who created nationalist feeling through operas and music and folk dances. Because on those days Poland was under the control of Russia, so Russian language completely dominated and suppressed the Polish language. So to enhance the Polish language, Karol Kurpinski expressed his ideas through the way of operas, music and folk dances. So under the Romanticism, as per your textbook, painting, folklores and folk tales, music and language played an important role. In the meantime, common man, what was his condition in Europe? He was severely affected by hunger, hardship that led to the cause of popular revolt. What was the reason behind of his hunger and hardship? First and foremost, the population was increased in Europe all of a sudden. That led to the cause of unemployment and small scale industries they were unable to compete with the large scale owners, so they had a stiff competition, and side by side the cost of living was also increased, and above all, without realizing the peasants' economic condition, the nobles they imposed huge taxes on them. All these 5 points created a popular revolt. This revolt, as per your textbook, I have stated here Silesian revolt in France. So, in the place of Silesia, French weavers they revolted. This was one of a very famous revolt arised from the side of common men. So, through the way of this reason, common men expressed his angry against of the nobles, rulers and the elite groups. One side, the poor people, unemployed and starving peasants, they were revolting against of the monarchical power. And side by side, this liberal middle class also, they joined and they wanted their parliament representation. And they wanted in the following areas changes: a constitution, freedom of press and freedom of association. In connection with this, German regions, a large number of political associations whose members were middle class professionals, businessmen and prosperous artisans came together in the city of Frankfurt and decided to vote for an all German National Assembly. On 18th May 1848, 831 elected representatives marched in a festive procession to take their places in the Frankfurt Parliament convened in the Church of St. Paul. If you see this picture, the St. Paul Church is given, and in the center of the St. Paul Church there is a picture given. It is an allegory given by the Germans. Here, this allegory is a representation of a nation, Germany. It was brought by a large number of political associations, middle class professionals, businessmen, and prosperous artisans, headed by monarchy and subjected to parliament. Women were only mute spectators to stand in the visitors' gallery because on those days women doesn't have any right to raise their voice. The dominant middle classes resisted the demands of the workers and artisans, hence lost their support. Actually, this particular parliament convened only with the elite professional groups. The opposition of the aristocracy and military became stronger. The social basis of the parliament eroded, which gives the meaning Frankfurt Parliament, which was convened by the elite middle class, was rejected by the ruler. At last, Frankfurt Parliament ended in failure. Like French, Germans also decided to prepare a separate identity for their nation. To begin with, they started allegory in the name of Germania. So this Germania they introduced when they met in the St. Paul Church for the Frankfurt Parliament. Next picture says about fallen Germania. Frankfurt Parliament ended in failure because the new constitution, which was designed by the elected representatives, were rejected by the monarch. So, to express their sadness, this picture was painted. So, they gave the title for this painting as Fallen Germania. Now we have entered into the important area of this video, which is about board-based questions. Before we go into the board-based questions, dear students, subscribe my channel, give your likes, pass your comments. Don't forget to press the bell button for the future notifications. Now we are moving into the question part. Definition, feminist and romanticism. Now the question goes number 1. Explain the statement, when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold. Question number 2. Describe in brief the Greek War of Independence. Question number 3. Explain with examples to show the contribution of culture to the growth of nationalism in Europe. It is about folklores, folk tales and Polish language. Contribution by Karol Karpinski. Question number 4. It's a statement-based question. The 1830s were years of great economic hardship in Europe. Explain how. Question number 5. Write a short note on Frankfurt Parliament. So dear children, if you are thorough with these questions from the page number 13 to 18, this is more than enough for you to prepare the board examination. So we'll meet you again with upcoming videos for the rest part of the chapter. Bye.